Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage this evening's performance of popular comedian Rob Mulholland.
It's just this for an hour. Hello, you all right? Hello, thank you very much for coming. You're an energetic bunch, that is nice. Welcome to my show. It is called Popular Comedian Rob Mulholland. The reason it's called that is because it's my show and I'll call it what I want, so go fuck yourselves. Thanks, I like to set a tone at the start of my shows. Right, basically, everything I'm going to tell you over the next hour will be a lie. It's how most comedy shows should fucking start. Right, I don't know if you know this about comedians. Loads of them, they're liars, they're frauds, loads of them, right? They're proper art, and it's got worse recently. Right, all the liars and the frauds in comedy with the introduction of the middle-class comedian. Yeah, they're a new breed, the middle-class comedian. We didn't have them before. They just popped up suddenly out of nowhere. Now they're fucking everywhere, and they're well annoying. They're basically like the fidget spinners of comedy. Right, and like they aren't like liars or frauds. Like, this is definitely true. Right, I'll prove it to you. Right, I think if I say middle-class comedian to you, I think the first person you'd think of would be Jack Whitehall. I think that's fair to say. Kind of the poster boy of middle-class comedy. Here's a secret for you, though, right? Jack Whitehall is not middle class. He's not. Genuinely, he's not, right? His dad spent £250,000 on his education. That's not middle class. That's landed fucking gentry. Like £250,000. I'm just saying that is a lot of money to spend on something that is traditionally free. Like 250 grand. For that amount of money, Jack Whitehall's dad could have got me to suck him off. Like 250 times. I know my price, what can I say? Isn't it right? And it's annoying, right? Because here's the thing, I don't want you guys thinking I'm just having a go at posh people, by the way. That's not what I'm doing at all, right? I love posh people. I've got loads of dead posh mates. Until about a month ago, I had a really posh girlfriend. Don't worry, next year's show. And to give you an idea of how posh, by the way, like, right, if this was Victorian times, she would own the factory that I died in aged 11. Right, we're talking like proper posh here, right? So I've got no problem with posh people. I love posh people. I just don't like people pretending to be things that they're not, right? Because what happens when all the upper class comedians start pretending to be middle class, then all the middle class comedians start pretending to be working class, and that is annoying as fuck. Right, like I can't tell you how irritating it is to watch someone you know went to private school do material about the shit area they live in. Like, oh, it's full of poor people, it's so gauche. Even though they only moved to that shit area to make their university experience more authentic. Absolute horseshit, right? And like the middle-class comedians as well, right? They all do shows about what lovely people they are, right? All their comedy shows are, oh, I'm just such a nice person, really, after it all. And it's bollocks, right? Every single person who has ever stood up on a comedy stage is a narcissist and a cunt. Right? And I include myself in this, right? So that's the thing, I'm not going to lie to you people, I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. I'm a bit of a shithouse, and, you know, I'm going to spend the next hour proving it, right? Just kind of come to terms with it. Like, it's just dead annoying, right? They've got all these little tricks that I keep seeing in the middle-class comedian shows, right? Because what they want to do is convince you that they're good people and that they're clever, right? They don't give a shit about you thinking they're funny. They want you to think that they're clever and nice. That's bollocks, right? There's loads of little ways they do it, right? Like, one of their favourite tricks, right? Audiences love this, you love it, right? You love a callback, don't you? Oh, when they mention something from earlier on, oh, that's clever, isn't it? No, it's a scam. Right? It really is. It's the easiest thing to do in comedy. I'll show you, right? I'll let you in behind the magician's curtain on this one, right? The way you put callbacks into a show is what you do is you wait till you've written the whole thing, then just look at what bits line up and then crowbar the fuckers in. Simple as that. And you'll go, oh, that's dead clever. The only reason they're in there is to make you feel clever for remembering something. Right, and like, don't fall for it. You people are better than that, right? You are. Like, you're better people than that, so don't fall for it. Next time you hear a callback in a comedy show, don't laugh. Right? What you should do instead is sit there stony-faced and just shout, call back! And I encourage you to do this at all of the shows. There's loads of little tricks to do. I just don't like them. Don't like all the bells and whistles and gimmicks, right? There's a thing I keep seeing at the moment where, like, comedians will be doing their show, right? And at the end of it, they'll be making some speech about, like, how you should look for the little things in life or some other, like, trite bollocks. Right, and while they're doing it, what happens is inspirational, uplifting music just starts playing underneath what they're saying out of nowhere, right? It just starts rising up out of nowhere, right? And now that is such a bullshit trick because literally anything sounds uplifting if you put uplifting music underneath it, right? It does, right? And if you don't believe me, I'll prove it. Right, let's do it. Hey, guys. Yeah? Uplifting, yeah? All right. Little uplifting message for you guys. Hey, just remember, if you're ever feeling sad, just keep drinking till the feelings go away. Hey? We all die alone in the end. Hey, right, we'll try another one. Let's do another one. Hey, guys. What if the Holocaust never even happened? Hey? They could have got all those shoes from anywhere. All right, one more. Let's do one more. One more. Hey, guys, just remember, next time you see a disabled person, why not put them out of the misery? All right, maybe not that last one. The thing is getting more and more ridiculous. It's just like, because what I love about stand-up is how immediate it is. I love just that it's a connection between you and me, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And all these bells and whistles and tricks are diluting it, right? And it's getting ridiculous. I swear to God, like next year, like someone will end their Edinburgh show with a fucking gospel choir, right? There'll be a laser show, there'll be confetti cannons. It's bullshit, right? And the thing is, like, it just adds more and more costs to like doing comedy, right? Here's the thing. This is why I'm talking about classic comedy, and this is why it's an important issue. It costs fucking loads to be a comedian, right? I don't know if you know this, but the average loss to a comedian of going to the Edinburgh Festival is £9,000. That's the average loss. I currently have £9. Right, like, I am a very broke man, right? To give you an idea of how broke I am, right? I once got turned down for a loan by Wonga. Right, I didn't know they did that. Right, it was a weird feeling, because on one hand, it's nice not to be exploited, but on the other, you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, I imagine it's the same feeling you'd get after coming home safely from a night out with Bill Cosby. Bittersweet. I didn't have that sort of money to do that sort of thing, but I wanted to go and compete with the middle-class comedians on their turf at their spiritual home of the Edinburgh Festival, right? So I was like, how can I do that? Because I don't have that money knocking around. So what I decided to do, right, I looked into alternative methods of funding, right? And I found that there is a government body that exists to fund young artists who can't afford to make the things that they want to make, right? And like help them to do it. And I think that's a wonderful, noble thing, right? Now, this body is called the Arts Council of England, right? Do you know the Arts Council? I'm guessing from some of that reaction you've heard of them. Right, like if you don't know who the Arts Council are, by the way, how could I put it? They're a bunch of cunts from London who love opera. Right, that is it, right? They really love opera as well, right? Genuinely, this is true, right? 85% of the money that the Arts Council spend on money goes to opera alone, right? They gave £96 million just to the Royal Opera House, right? And their justification for all this money, right, was like, they said, right, it would just be a tragedy if opera died out in this country. That's not a tragedy, that's natural fucking selection. No one gives a shit about opera anymore, let it die. Right, but this is the thing, like, you should be angry about this, because this is your money, this is taxpayers' money, it's public money that they're wasting on this. So, like, we've got a mad situation right now where there are people currently working in Asda in order to subsidise millionaires watching the ring cycle on the South Bank of London. It's fucked. Right, I think we should spend money on the arts. I think that's a great thing to do, but they just spend it in all the wrong ways, right, in all the wrong places. Like, I just think it's bullshit. We should put it to, like, better things. Like, by the way, sorry, what's your name, mate? Dan, pleasure to meet you, mate. Right, I'm going to tell you some things now. I've done some research, Dan, right? These are genuine things that the Arts Council have spent money on, right? I've looked into all of these. These are fact. They once spent £18,000 on a puppet show about diabetes. I can't eat sugar. I have to eat a lot of sugar. Where's my foot gone? 18 grand, please. Fucking mental. Mate, Dan, they spent £23,000 on a ballet about a rare tree disease. Right, now see, like doing this show in Manchester, people laughed at that. When I did it in Edinburgh, about half the audience went, oh, that sounds good. What time's it on? Fucking pricks, mate, right? Here's the worst one, Dan, right? This is genuinely true, mate, right? £41,000 they spent on an art installation where people could go and make jigsaws for Palestine. Oh, well, I trust that's the end of that Middle East problem then. Right, this is the thing, I want to find out where this art installation is, and when they start making the jigsaws for Palestine, I want to turn up with an entirely different set of jigsaw pieces, dump them on the top of the ones they're doing, and when they can't fit them all in the little holes, just be like, yeah, it seems like that's kind of the problem, doesn't it? That is by far the cleverest joke in the show. Right. By the way, Dan, can you read, mate? Fantastic, that's great. Can you just hold on to this for me, mate? We won't need it for ages. You can stick it on the floor. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to that later. Thanks for that, mate. That's great. By the way, if you think it's patronising that I asked you if you can read, I did this show in Derby. Turns out I've got to ask. True story. Right, so I thought, right, with all that money sloshing about, all that money that they're wasting on bullshit, surely they give 9 grand to a cheeky little scamp like me to put on a show. So I applied to the Arts Council for some funding, right, and straight away they called me up and invited me down to a meeting in London, right. Now, I think what happened there was, I think they thought they were inviting popular sculpture artist Rob Mulholland. Who is much more successful than me, right? I wasn't fucking correcting them though, right? So I went down to London, right? And when I went to the Arts Council, I was ushered into this meeting room, right? And when I went in there, I met the poshest man I have ever met in my entire life, right? And I met my ex's dad, right? Like, this guy was like a human version of Toad from Toad Hall, right? He looked like he was made of tweed. Right, and he was that kind of posh as well, where he just laughed at things even when a joke hadn't been made. Do you know this kind of posh where he was just like, oh, hello, come on in, lovely to meet you. Is it? Right, so I went in, like, we sat down, and he started, like, talking to me, and he was just like, oh, right, so tell me about yourself, yes? Tell me about what you do. It's always lovely to meet a young artist. Tell me about your work. What is it you do? I was like, oh, I'm a stand-up comedian. And he just went... I'm afraid we don't fund stand-up comedy, because we at the Arts Council are in the business of elevating people, not keeping them in the gutter. And I didn't punch him. I was very proud of myself for that, but what he said next annoyed me even more, because what he said then was, it's actually a rule at the Arts Council that we don't fund stand-up comedy, because as you'll know, being a comedian, comedy doesn't need the money, because comedy is a self-funding industry. Self-funding industry, right? Now, I've thought long and hard since that day, trying to work out what the fuck he meant, right? And I think I've figured it out, though, right? My earnings as a professional comedian last year were about £9,000, right? My show this year at Edinburgh cost me £9,000, right? I think what it means is, as long as you don't mind not living indoors or eating, it's entirely self-funding. Right, but the thing is with me, when I'm backed into a corner, I just keep talking, right? And I wanted this fucking money, so I wasn't going to let him get away with it that quickly. So I just went, well, yeah, no, I get that, that's fine. But it's not actually stand-up comedy that I want to do this time. He was like, oh, okay, tell me what it is. I was like, oh, actually, I'd like funding for a play, actually. Yeah, it's a one-man piece of immersive theatre about a stand-up comedian who tricks the Arts Council into funding comedy by pretending that it's a play. So welcome to my play. Here's the thing, he fucking loved it, right? He just went, oh, that's very meta. Like, I think it was the word immersive that got him going. I think if I'd said site-specific, he would have come in his pants. So we got to talking more, right? And he was like, yeah, I'm very interested in your project, actually, but we have a lot of quotas that we need to fill at the Arts Council. There's a number of topics and various art forms that we need covering. So I was wondering if you'd be able to do any of these, then you might well be able to progress your application. Right, now, I was backed into a corner, like I say, and I wanted this money. So I just started fucking agreeing to things, right? So what I told him that this show would be about, right... I promised that this show would be about Brexit, feminism, and satirical magic. Right, now let's go through those again, right? Brexit, I know next to nothing about. I've done that on purpose. It's fucking boring. Right, feminism, that's going to be trouble. And satirical magic. What the fuck is satirical magic? Like, I genuinely have no idea what I'm meant to be doing. Like, do I have to do a card trick where at the end of it, I've just got a picture of Theresa May on it? Like, I'm genuinely baffled, but I just said yes to all of it, right? And, like, you know, he, like, sent me out of the office. He was like, yeah, it's going to be a pleasure working with you, because we started, like, filling out paperwork, right? Now, it turns out the Arts Council is so obsessed with, like, bureaucracy and red tape and box ticking that if you just give all the right answers on their forms, they just kind of have to fund you. So it fucking worked! I couldn't believe it, right? I didn't tell anyone at first when they said they were going to accept me, because I thought, like, right, I thought someone at the Arts Council higher up would look at it and go, well, this is an obvious piss take. But no, they really are that fucking stupid. Because, like, 3 weeks later, the money landed in my bank account, right? I couldn't believe it. I've never been so excited, right? I printed out an ATM receipt, and, like, it's now stuck to my fridge. Like, when people come round my house, I'm just like, hey, guys, do you remember the time I had 9 grand? Hey? Right, I was so fucking excited, right? And here's the thing, like, I've just moved to Manchester, but like this was a few months ago when I was still living in my hometown of Knaresborough in North Yorkshire, right? It's a little market town. And I lived at one part in the marketplace, and my mate Steve works in a pub at the other side of the marketplace. I used to work there together. He's one of my oldest and best friends, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go tell Steve about this. I'm going to go tell her we'll go celebrating. We'll have a great time. This is going to be awesome, right? So I bounded into the pub to go see him. Burst through the door. I was like, Steve, it worked. I got the money off the Arts Council. And he just went, oh, cool. I was like, mate, I've just conned a government body out of £9,000. Can I have something a bit more than that? And he just went, oh, no, it's great, man. Sorry, like, I'm just a bit down at the moment. Sorry, it's really good. And I was like, oh, sorry, man, what's up with you? And he just went, I'm just really sad about my dog dying. And I was like, I could not give a fuck about your dog, mate. Right, now, if any of you think that's a harsh thing to say, please bear this piece of information in mind. This dog died 8 months previous to this story taking place. Right, 8 months? That is insane. I wouldn't mourn a parent for 8 months. 8 fucking months. So I was like, mate, right, you're clearly cut up about this dog. I've got a bit of money now, right? Do you want a loan so you can buy another dog? I just went, that's very insensitive, actually. You wouldn't say that to me if I'd just lost a child, would you? I just went, no, I'd tell you to go make one of them. They're fucking free. I just don't think that's a fair comparison, right? I don't think you can compare dogs and children in any way. Like, I love dogs, right? Dogs are great, but they're not the same as fucking children, right? Like, it's not the same thing, right? And I'll prove it to you, right? No one has ever put a child down because it was too expensive to fix. Like, this conversation has never occurred. Like, hello, doctor? Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, I've been waiting on the results. Yeah, so... is my boy going to be all right? Oh, God. Oh, God, is that serious? Well, is it curable? Well, how much is Calpol? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, shit. And if he doesn't get the Calpol? No, I mean, of course I will. Yeah, no, those are his trainers I wanted. I was trying to save for a holiday. But no, I'll get him it. I'll get him it, definitely. Thanks, doctor. Thank you for letting me know. Cheers, thank you. I love you, son. I'll tell you the worst thing about that, they haven't even cut the cord yet. I'll be honest with you, Steve did not find it as funny as you did. He was quite pissed off, but I was like, Steve, mate, right, come on, let's stop fucking about. I'm only joking, right? Get round the bar, right? You're finishing your shift, right? You need cheering up, I need to celebrate. The great thing is, we've got access to booze, right? And booze can do both of those things. Booze can do fucking anything. That's what's great about it, right? Like, I love drinking. I really do. It's one of my favourite things to do. I think I drink to a pretty professional standard, right? Like, the problem with drinking, I think, is it brings out the real you, right? Like, we've all had that conversation the night after someone's been a bit of a dickhead on a night out, where they're just like, that wasn't me last night, that was the gin talking, that wasn't me, it was just the gin. It's like, no, that was you and your shitty racist opinion, Susan, fucking own it. Right, so I think it just strips away social niceties and leaves that core self inside you on show. And the problem for me is, my core self is a fucking toddler. Right, and not even like a good toddler. Like, you know, like in the 70s, there was that experiment where they gave a lot of toddlers a marshmallow and said, if you can wait 2 minutes to eat it, you'll get another marshmallow, right? Now, all the good kids waited 2 minutes, got 2 marshmallows, lovely. All the naughty kids just went, fuck your second marshmallow, ate it straight away. Right, now, if I was drunk and in that experiment, I'd eat the first marshmallow straight away, then immediately start threatening the scientists, like, where's the rest of the flumps? Right, I get excitable when I'm drunk, right? Because the thing is, I think because I'm skint all the time, my life's pretty boring, right? So when I get a chance to go wild, right, I fucking take advantage of it. So, like, you know, we were getting involved, me and Steve, we were putting a few away, and we were starting to have a good night, right? We'd got, like, pretty hammered. But the thing is, right, Knaresborough's a small market town, and this story takes place on a Monday night, right? Because the thing is, like, Monday is a good night for a comedian to go out and a barman, right? We both work weekends, so Monday's like our big night, right? So, like, we're starting, like, proper going, but like, everything about 10:30 started closing down around the town. And we're like, we're starting to have fun now, fuck. I was like, Steve, right, how about me and you, we get a taxi into Leeds, right, make this a big one, yeah? Right, now, for those of you who don't know the geography of Yorkshire, the distance between Knaresborough and Leeds is a £95 taxi ride. Yeah, found that one out the fucking hard way. And I think it wasn't even a good taxi ride. Like, it wasn't even like, like a nice one. For £95, you'd expect a fucking nice taxi ride. But this was one of the worst I've ever had, right? I'll tell you why it was so weird, right, this taxi ride. Whilst driving us, our driver ate a yoghurt. Right, a few of you don't look freaked out enough by this. Right, I'll explain why that's an awful thing to do, right? I have no problem with someone eating a one-handed snack while they drive, right? Have a pasty, have some crisps, knock yourself out, I'm not fucking Hitler. Right, a yoghurt requires 2 hands, though. Like, at this point, he might as well have had a full roast dinner on his fucking lap. Right, and the thing was, it wasn't even a normal yoghurt, it was a Muller corner. Right, he had to get his little chocolate balls into it first before he started. Right, now, by the way, you may have noticed I've not described this taxi driver to you at all at this point in the story, right? There's a couple of reasons I've done that. I've done it on purpose, right? The first reason is I just don't think it really has any impact on the story, right? It just doesn't really matter what he looks like. It's, it's incidental. And secondly, if I did describe him to you accurately, you'd think I was being very racist. All I want you to do, imagine an Uber driver. Yeah, that's him. Whatever just happened in your head's on you. So he was right. So he didn't even stop while he was driving us. It was a weird thing. He just leant over to the glove box, pulled out this yoghurt, took the lid off, licked it, frisbeed it onto the passenger seat, like, not my fucking problem anymore, knocked his balls into it, and then started to proceed to try and eat the yoghurt. Right, now I choose the word try on purpose because it's really hard to eat a yoghurt while you're driving, which is why no one fucking does it. Right, so what he started off doing is, right, he grabbed the yoghurt in his fingers like that and then wrapped his middle finger around the steering wheel to hold on to it, right? He's now got 2 problems. Right, firstly, he can't steer more than 20 degrees in either direction without getting his vanilla balls all down his leg. Right, second problem, his yoghurt is here on the steering wheel, his spoon is here. Right, and he sat just looking between the two of them for a good, 15 seconds, not at the road, just at these. Right, until eventually it had a brainwave. Right, now I think this is one of the most graceful and elegant solutions to a problem I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing, right? Because all he did to solve this conundrum was just loosen his grip with his middle finger and wait for a turn. Just there like this. Stuck his head forward for the backstroke like that. Didn't work, I was gutted, right? He got all yoghurt in his beard. He managed to flick some on his forehead somehow. Right, he looked like he was in the last 10 seconds of a porn film. Right, not good, right? So he changed it up again at that point, right? And what he did now was he just grabbed the yoghurt, popped it in his lap. Now he's just digging for gold. Right. And I was so desensitised to the whole situation that I had to stop myself from saying out loud, "Yep, that's a better technique." Like any of this was fine. Right, then he got all the way to the end of the yoghurt and he did the single most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen a human being do in public in my entire life, right? What he did was he picked up the now empty yoghurt pot, just popped it in front of his mouth, stuck his tongue out and turned it. Right, and that was the moment he chose to look in the rearview mirror and make eye contact with me. Right, so I've now gone from innocent bystander to active participant in a plastic sex crime. Still gave him 5 stars, though. I'm not a dickhead. Oh, Dan, by the way, mate. By the way, yeah, no, don't worry about that. You won't need that till much later. Don't worry. Just going to tell you another one, mate. £32,000. £32,000 they want to spend on vegan juggling. How much does 3 courgettes cost? That is a genuine question. I've never bought one. Here's the thing, right? They got me to Leeds, right, this taxi. They got me and Steve there, right, and dropped us off. And me and Steve were well excited. We'd been bored in the taxi and we were drunk, so we were excited to get out and start drinking, right? So we jumped out of the taxi in Leeds city centre, and that was when we realised, because it was now midnight on a Monday, everywhere there was closed too. Like everywhere. Nowhere was open. Nowhere would let us in. We walked around for about half an hour trying to get in anywhere. Nowhere would have us. And we were stood on a street corner discussing our situation. We're like, what the fuck are we going to do? Nowhere's open. Are we just going to have to get another 95 quid taxi back? And if we do, I hope this guy has heard of Froobs. Right. Whilst we're having this conversation, right, we're still like trying to work out what to do. And whilst we're doing that, a limo pulled up next to us around the road, and like the window at the back of the limo just wound down. A woman stuck her head out of it and just went, "Hey boys, how would you two like to go to a party?" And we were like, yes we would. That's exactly what we'd like to do. That's why we're here. Great. And then we got into the limo without asking any further questions. Right, now, don't do that. So we got in, and when we got in, we realised this woman was not alone, right? Who was with her was the largest bouncer I have ever seen in my fucking life, and 2 topless middle-aged women. Right, because it turned out this was no ordinary limo. This was a car service to the local gentleman's club. And I use that phrase fucking loosely. Right, now, when we sat down, straight away, this woman, right, who had invited us in, as soon as we sat in and got settled, right, she just took from out of her bra, like a little glass vial of cocaine, right, that had like a spoon built into the lid, like, unscrewed it, got a bit of coke onto the spoon, put it underneath my nose, and went, "Do you want to get the party started?" Right, now, I'm not here to glorify drugs, right? I think they do a good enough job of that by themselves. Right? Well, especially not cocaine, right? Cocaine's a really dumb thing to do when you're drunk. It's a really bad combination. Basically, doing coke when you're drunk is just saying, "I'd like to make some bad choices, please." Quickly. Right. But, you know, I didn't want to be rude. She was being a good host, you know, when in Rome. So I did the coke like a gentleman. Right, but as soon as I did it, right, the bouncer just made a little note in his notepad. I was like, "What's that?" He was like, "Oh, you boys are having the VIP package, aren't you?" I'm just writing it down. "What's the VIP package?" I was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's great. You'll have a great time, right? We'll take you to the club. You'll see a load of women. You'll have champagne. There'll be more coke. You'll have a great time." I went, "Uh-huh. And how much is the VIP package?" He just went, "Don't worry, mate. It's only $1,000. I said, "Whoa! No. I am from Yorkshire, sir. I have just had a tiny bit of cocaine. I'm not spending a fucking grand on it. That is mental." But at that moment, Steve just went, "Why not, mate? You've got the money." The fucking grass! Right, but the thing was, as he said that, the coke started working. So I just went, "Oh yeah, fuck it, it's on the Arts Council! Let's go!" So, right, they drove us to a place in Leeds called Silks, right? Now, I'm already getting this vibe, right? This always happens. When you tell, like, either nice men or women that you've been to a strip club, you get the same sort of reaction, right? It's always just like, "I just don't get why you do that. It just seems like it'd be really frustrating and gross and weird and awkward. I just don't understand it." And men will always lie, right? They'll always just be like, "No, I just had to go. My mates were going. I was dragged along. Didn't even want to go." Bullshit, right? I'm not going to lie to you, people. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you the real reason men go to strip clubs, right? Here it is. The real reason men go to strip clubs is you can't smell porn. Right, if you're waiting for more, that's it. Didn't say it'd be nice. Right, Silks is not even a nice strip club by strip club standards even. It's a weird place. Right, I'll tell you why I think it's so weird. Silks has a buffet. Like, who's eating in a strip club? Right, and if you are going to eat in a strip club, don't eat finger food. Right, and also, like, because it was like a Monday night, like, it wasn't exactly popping off in the strip club, right? The only other people in there, like, the only other customers were 2 elderly Yorkshiremen sat around the stage watching someone dance. One of them eating a pork pie off the buffet. Right, and the other one, I swear to God, flicked a 50p at a stripper. A 50p? That's not a compliment. That's what racists do at football matches. Right, and like, Monday night, right, not the best time to go to the strip club, right? You're not getting the A shift on Monday night, right? It's not a top quality night in the strip club, right? You know how normally, like, strippers will have some sort of fake, like, meant to be sexy name that they'll introduce themselves as. They'll be like, "Hi, I'm Rolex," or like, "Hi, I'm Champagne." Right, I swear, on this night, one of the strippers introduced herself to me as Bev. Bev. Like, "Who wants a lap dance off a dinner lady?" Insane. Here's the thing, right? But, like, I was being well behaved on this night, right? Because all I wanted was a drink, right? And I had a girlfriend at the time, and one of us in that relationship was always faithful. Sorry, next year's show. Right, so I just sat at the bar and ordered myself a drink, started chatting to the barman. But I was like, Steve, right, we've paid for the VIP package. Why don't you go enjoy it, mate? You have a good time. Because I'm a good friend, right? So I sent him off behind the curtain into the VIP area. Right, and now Steve was gone for about 25 minutes. Now, he claims to this day, that he did not have sex with that stripper stroke sex worker stroke mother of 4. Right, now I'd like to provide you with 2 bits of evidence why I think Steve is a fucking liar. Right, piece of evidence number 1, when Steve came out from behind that curtain, he was kissing the stripper. Right, now normally you're not meant to touch, let alone put your tongue down their fucking throat. Right, which means the sight of someone kissing a stripper is very much the same as seeing someone in Asda putting out whoop stickers. It definitely means that someone has just popped a yoghurt. Piece of evidence number 2, why I think Steve's a liar. Steve's additional bill on top of the VIP package was £2,700. £2,700. I just have no idea how you spend that much money on sex work. I'm not saying I definitely know what happened behind that curtain. I'm just saying that is a lot of £10 lap dances. I just wouldn't have the imagination to spend that much money on sex work. My wildest fantasy would cost about 40 quid. When Steve was told this bill, he just giggled, right? He just went like, I don't have that kind of money. That's mental. I work in a pub. And the atmosphere fucking changed. Right, instantly it just went, fun times in the strip club, to it was like the needle coming off a record. It just went, whoop. No, give us your money now. Right, bouncers appeared from every corner where we hadn't seen them before, and they surrounded us, right? And it turned out the guy from the limo, very much the runt of the litter. Right, I am 6'7" tall, and I was looking up at a neck tattoo. Right, and they had us surrounded, but they were all focusing on Steve because it was his bill, and just threatening him, give us the fucking money. He's like, I just don't have the money. That's insane. I've not even been paying for everything tonight. He's the one with the money. The fucking grass! Twice he threw me under the bus. Right, so they all turned on me. Well, the biggest one just grabbed me, pushed me against the wall, got right in my face, and he was like, right, he says you're paying, you're giving us the fucking money. And I was like, mate, this is nothing to do with me. This is not my problem. I was sat at the bar, you saw me, I was just chilling out, I did nothing. He went, no, he's your mate, he's your problem, and if you don't pay us, I'm going to go get a knife and I'll cut your fucking bollocks off. So I said, here's my card. Right. But I said to Steve, and I was like, Steve, this is mental, mate. You're right. I can't afford to pay this much money, right? You are paying me back for this. Even though I knew really he probably never would be able to. He's always skint. We all are. I was just like, fuck, man. Well, I hope you got over your dog at least. He just went, what dog? So I swiped my card, took my money, and kicked us out, right? When we were out on the street, I wasn't really feeling like talking to Steve very much. But I was also feeling very high on cocaine. So I wasn't quite ready to call it a night yet. So I was like, Steve, right, you've been a dickhead, we'll sort this out tomorrow, right? We've both been dickheads many, many times in our past and we've got over it. We will do this again. I'm going to try and suppress the rage. Let's try and still have a bit of a good night. So I spent so much money and I've not had any fun yet. Can we go somewhere else? We'll find something that's open. We'll do something fun. I was like, look, there's a taxi over there. Let's jump in that. Taxi drivers will know where somewhere that's open. They'll be able to do it for us. So we went and got into this taxi. And before I could say anything to this driver, Steve uttered these immortal words. Driver, take us to the dirtiest place in Leeds. And this driver fucking delivered. Right, because I lived in Leeds for years. I know the city really well. I have no idea where he took us on this night, right? He drove us to the edge of town, to an abandoned industrial estate, parked up about 200 yards away from a building, just pointed at it and went, in there, boys, we'll have a great time. And so we got out of the taxi and started walking towards this building. And as we got closer to it, we realised from the flickering lights outside it and the neon that this place was a brothel. And I was like, Steve, I don't think we should go in a brothel. And he just went, they might be selling beer. I was like, that is a fair point. Let's go check it out. So we went in, right? Now, if you want to picture this building, by the way, imagine the hotel from The Shining. Right, that's basically what it looked like. Except when the lift doors opened, it wouldn't be blood that came out, it would be semen. This place was fucking horrid. It's the worst building I've ever been in. It felt like being in a horror film properly. All the wallpaper was peeling off the walls, the lights were flickering. It was so grim. But there was a sign saying waiting area, pointing off into a direction. So we're like, well, let's go there. So we wandered down to the waiting area. Now, the waiting area was a room, probably about this big, actually. It was about the size of this, with about as many people in it, right? Which is fucking depressing for me. Because this was like 2 a.m. on now a Tuesday, and it was chocker. Like, I couldn't believe it. And like, it was a horrible atmosphere in there, though. Like, I really didn't like it. Like, it was just like loads of men, all drunk and horny. There was this weird tension in the air. But God bless the British, there was still an orderly queue. Right? All just lined up against the wall waiting to be seen to. We're like, and there was a bar, Steve was right? They were selling cans of Foster's off a bit of like, some beer crates with some tarpaulin over it. That like, you know, I think one of the retired workers was working that bar. Right, it sold us some couple of cans, and we were like, right, what do we do now? Because like I say, I wasn't interested in any of the services there, you know, I had a girlfriend, and Steve had very much filled his boots at the last place. So what do we do? And he was like, I think Steve's a really friendly guy, right? He loves meeting people on nights out, making new friends, right? So he was like, should we just go chat to some people, yeah? I was like, in here? He was like, yeah, fuck it. So I was like, all right, fine, right? We went and started talking to people in the queue. Now, it turns out, people who visit brothels at 2 a.m, pretty creepy, right? Didn't have the best chat, right? They weren't good conversationalists. After a couple of minutes, we'd just been weird and awkward and grim. Like, I just sort of like backed out with the conversation, left Steve to it, right? I just left him there chatting away. I was like, nah, I'm not having any of this. And then I started getting that toddler energy coming back up, right? Because I say I'm excitable and I was bored. I'm like, I need something to happen here. I need something exciting to happen. And then I saw a door that said, do not enter. And I was like, I've never been in a brothel before. I have no plans to return to a brothel. And I don't know really exactly what happens in a brothel. I mean, I've got a fair idea, but like, the specifics, I don't know how it works. And I have an inquiring mind. I was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. Right, and when no one was looking, I just snuck through the door. And I just came out on the other side, and there was just this long corridor with all doors going off it either side. Like, it must have been a hotel in a previous life, this thing. So I had to come up with a plan, what to do next. I just went, fuck it, you know what? I'll just start opening doors at random. Right, so I wandered down this corridor, slamming open doors like a toddler with his first advent calendar. Right, just like booting them open to see what I was inside. Now, the first few I opened, absolutely fine, nothing going on. They weren't in use. One of them was like a store cupboard. But after about 5 or 6, I opened one that was very much in use. Right, and it was being used at the time by a very large, very hairy, very naked, very angry, very erect man. The way I first encountered him was like this. And then he ran straight at me. Right, and as he ran, his dick was still hard, so he was slapping from side to side, like he was trying to divine for water in a desert with it. Right, and I just turned on my heels and fucking scarpered, right? Now, I didn't know where I was going. I was getting myself more and more lost running down corridors, but like I was getting away from him. Man, bear in mind, at this point, Steve had no idea I was gone, right? He was still happily chatting away until he heard in the waiting room this noise. As I arrived through the double doors to the waiting room, upside down, backwards and airborne. I had slipped just before I got to them, fallen through them. I did a pirouette in the air, landed on the floor, skidded across it, looked up at Steve and went, Steve, we have to leave now! And then I turned around and ran back through those doors towards the man chasing me. So I had no idea where I was going. I was drunk, I was high, I was confused, right? So Steve had to run after me, rugby tackle me, turn me around in the direction of the exit, and so we started running out. And that's why we're both running. He was like, what's happened, man? I was like, I don't know, but there's a man chasing me, and I think he might fuck me. When we got outside, right, we'd left the taxi waiting there, so we ran the 200 yards up to the taxi, like, absolutely knackered, jumped into the back seat, and we're like, driver, get us out of here now! And the driver just turned to us, put down his yoghurt. That was there we go. 10 points, well done. Rest of you, put your fucking ideas up. He just turned to us and went, did you have a good time then, boys? We're like, no. Who has ever ended a good night with, get us out of it now! It's been so pleasant! I was like, no, we need to go, right? Then I was like, Steve, this night's been a bust, man. Let's call it here now, right? It's been an absolute ordeal, right? Let's just get the fuck home, right? Like, I was like, driver, can you take us to a cash point? We'll get you some money and then take us home to Knaresborough, please. We just need to get home now. This has been ridiculous. Right, so this driver, right, he took us over to a cash point. Oh, and right, speaking of money, by the way, Dan, speaking of money, they once spent £27,000, you know, the Arts Council, 27 grand they spent on a burlesque readaptation of Anne Frank's diary. Which surely should have been mime. So he took us to this cash point, right? Dropped us off there, and like I was like, he pulled up. I was like, Steve, right, I'm knackered from all that running. Can you go get the money for me, right? Take my wallet, off you go, right? So he picked up my wallet, jumped out, and right, he started like putting in my pin. He was like, mate, it's not working. I was like, yeah, no, I've just told you it, man. Like, do it again. And he was just, it's not working. I was like, all right, don't do it a third time. You'll block my card, right? So I jumped out to go help him. And I went round. I was like, Steve, this is your wallet, you knobhead. You've put your card in. That's why it's not working. You must have left my wallet in the car. Don't worry, I'll get it for you, pal. Right, I turned round to open the taxi door, and as I did, the tyres squealed, and the taxi fucked off. Yeah. It was like, and you best believe we chased him. Oh, we chased that taxi with all the coked up fury left inside us. Well, the thing is, Steve is about 6'5" and the same build as me, so when us two run, it looks like two dragonflies fucking. Right, it turns out taxis are much faster than two drunk, lanky men. Right, so he got away from us. We stood at the end of the road, and then we both had a realisation at the same moment. We just went like, oh, shit, no! Because in that taxi wasn't just my wallet. It was also my phone and Steve's phone. So all we had left between us was Steve's fucking pointless, empty, moneyless wallet. And that's when we fell out. Now, I think I've been pretty patient up to this point. I think I let him get away with a lot, but I lost my shit at this point. Right now, the thing is with me, right, like, I like to think when I'm sober, I'm a logical arguer. Like, I like focusing on the point, let's resolve that, and once it's done, it's done. But when I'm drunk, my arguments are like bushfires, right? They start on one little thing, and suddenly they've spread to every interaction we've ever had in our entire life. Right, I was so drunk during this argument that I only remember 2 bits of it. I remember the first bit where I was like, well, how could you not realise that it wasn't my card? And then there's a blank bit. And then I remember saying, yeah, but how can Limp Bizkit be your favourite band? Right, now, fun fact for you, Dan. Steve's actual favourite band are Linkin Park, but that stopped being funny just before Edinburgh. Yeah. Selfish of him, wasn't it? No one ever thinks of the comedians. So, right. This argument got so heated that eventually we're just like, fuck it, right? Let's just split up. Fuck it, right? I'm done here. Done with you. Fuck you. We just left each other and we were alone, right? That was the last I saw of Steve on that night out, right? Didn't see him again. So I was left alone. I had nothing, right? I didn't have any money. I didn't have my phone. I still had my health. I was like, I'm stranded. How the fuck do I get home? But I could see Leeds City Centre in the distance, right? And I know that the train station in Leeds is right in the centre of town. So I was like, right, that'll probably only take me about half an hour to walk. By the time I get there, right, I'll be at a train station. You can get home from train stations. I know, train stations are very exciting. Right, I was like, yeah, so that's a good plan. I'll do that. It'll only take me about half an hour. It'll be fine. It took me 3.5 hours, right? Because I was not walking as the crow flies. But I got there finally, right? After getting lost for ages on this whole journey, eventually I got to the train station. Well, I wasn't quite there, but I could see it. I was about 150 yards away from the station, but I was separated from it by a very large, spiky metal fence. One of those ones with the big prongs on the top, right? It went as far as I could see in either direction. It was probably about 9 or 10 foot tall, and I couldn't see a way round. And I was like, what do I do now? Right. I can't go round it because I don't know where that comes out and I'll get lost again. I've been lost for so fucking long. Can't go under it. Can't go through it. Going to have to go over it. We're going on a bear hunt. Right, now here's the thing. I can't climb even when I'm sober. I've managed to fall down 3 times before I got to the top. I was struggling up, but when I eventually got myself up to the top of it, I managed to push myself over with all the strength I had left in my body. I got one leg over it, and as I was hovering over the spikes, don't worry, it's not quite that bad. I put my other leg over, and as I did, that part of my jeans hooked onto one of the spikes. It grabbed it there, held onto my leg, and I fell off the other side and was left dangling upside down by my leg. Right, and I was upside down trying to pull myself back up in order to free myself from it when I heard the unmistakable sound of my jeans tearing both here and here simultaneously, thus leaving me with 4 flaps of jean that dropped me out of them onto the top of my head, whereupon I bled profusely, vomited all over myself, and passed out for a little while. Right, now I've since learnt that those are the symptoms of quite a serious concussion. But I didn't get it checked out because I'm a fucking legend. Like, I've no idea how long I was out for, right? But when I came to, right, I blinked my eyes open, and all that was filling my field of vision was my jeans in shreds hanging from this fence, like blowing in the breeze in absolute tatters, looking like a Syrian gay pride flag. Right? So I had to jump up, grab them down, put them back on the best I could, and sort of hold them together in a bunch. But I was there. I was at the station, right? And now all I had was a simple task remaining to get home. Easy. All I had to do was sneak through Leeds train station, the third busiest in the country, at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, in this condition, without anyone noticing, get through the ticket barriers somehow, get onto a train, hide in the toilets, and count the stops till I got home. Here's the thing. I fucking did it. I've never been so proud of myself, right? All I didn't go subtle. I just grabbed my jeans, got my head down, and fucking ran. I just weaved through the crowds, dipped through the barriers, onto a train, into the toilets, closed the door, and I was like, I am a fucking ninja, right? So proud of myself. Turns out what had actually happened was about 15 different members of staff had seen me. They'd just all gone above my pay grade. And just radioed it in. So I only made it about 2 stops when there was a knock at the door. I was like, ticket inspector. I was like, shit. I'm having a poo. He was like, well, you still need a ticket, which is a fair point. I was like, I've got one. Like, can I see it? No. It's like, right, we've had a report, you've got onto this train without buying a ticket, right? And if that is illegal, right? So what we need now is you have 2 choices. You can either open this door, or I can open it from the other side. I had no choice, I had to open the door. Right, now the sight that he opened the door to see, I think is the most pathetic I have ever looked in my entire life. Right, I was sat in this tiny train cubicle on one of those diesel trains that still runs in North Yorkshire from the 80s. Tiny little cubicle, sat on the seat with my jeans in shreds around my ankles, hammered, looking up at him, and said, mate, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a ticket. But I've had an ordeal, right? I've had a hell of a night. I don't have anything left. This is my only chance to get home, right? This is all I can do, right? There's no way that I can possibly get home apart from this. I've got no money. Please, can you just let me stay on this train? It won't cost you anything more, right? You can invoice me afterwards. You can find me, anything. I just need to stay on this train, please. And he said, not without a ticket, you don't. The job's worth cunt. Right, then he said, right, you can either get off here at this station, or I can call security and we'll make a scene. So I said, option 2, please. Pushed past him and ran down the train, right? Now, the problem with running away from someone down a train is trains are only so long, right? There is a finite amount of train you can run down. And I realised this as I was getting towards the driver's door. It was coming towards me. And bear in mind, the demographic of this train was about 250 business people on their way to work and this guy. Right, so when I got near to the end, I realised I was running out of options of where to go. I panicked, took my eye off the ball for a second, tripped over a briefcase, and slammed my head on the driver's door and knocked myself out again. Right, I came to this time being dragged onto a platform by the security guy, and then the ticket inspector just closed the door, and off he went. Right, the train just left. So I was left stranded on this platform. I came to again, got myself up, dusted myself down, and had a look around. And I could see from the signs at the station that I was in a place called Wheaton. Right, now, if you sat there wondering where Wheaton is, have a fucking look at yourself. It don't matter, right? It's a tiny little bullshit place in North Yorkshire. Still about 12 miles from my hometown. No good to me. I was still stranded. I was like, what am I going to do now? Because I can't go get back on a train, because, obviously they'll have told the other trains about this. They'll be waiting for me. I can't do that. What's the safest way I could possibly try to get home now? I know, hitchhiking. When's that ever gone wrong? Right, so I did, right? Turns out, very hard to hitchhike, right? People are not keen on picking up people covered in their own blood and vomit. Unless you do my tactic of standing directly in the road so they have to stop. So I stood in the road in front of traffic, just holding my jeans with my thumb out like this. And then a guy stopped, right? And I went round to his driver's window and I banged on the window. I was like, mate, I need to get home to Knaresborough. Is there any way you can take me anywhere along there, right? I've had a hell of a fucking night. I just need to get home. Please, I won't be any bother, I promise. And he just looked and went, you know what, mate? I am going that way, right? And I don't mind taking you, as long as you can promise me that you're not going to be sick again. Now, that was not a promise I could make. But I made it. I needed the fucking lift. So I went around, got into his passenger seat, and I sat there, and I was just trying to focus on not passing out again. I was sort of lolling in and out of consciousness in silence, resting my head on the window. And he sat in perfect silence too, where I started driving us, and the relief that hit me was amazing. So I'm finally going home, right? This guy felt like a miracle. He felt like a saviour. Like I say, we just sat in silence for a good 5 minutes. But he was eyeing me up all the time, trying to work me out. And eventually, plucked up the courage, and he just turned to me and went, "Mate, I've got to ask, what happened to you?" Right, now here's where I did possibly the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Right, now, like, what I did next, I'm not proud of, right? I'm not telling this to glorify it in any way or absolve myself from it. I did a horrible thing, and I'm not proud of it. I'm just going to tell you guys the truth, because it is what happened. Because I panicked in the moment, right? I was scared, because I thought I couldn't tell him the story that I've just told you, because I don't think it paints me in a particularly good light. I was like, I need to find some reason why he'll be sympathetic to me, why he'll want to help, why he'll feel like a good person for doing that. So I had to come up with a lie, and I had to come up with one quick, and I had to come up with one drunk. So I looked at all the visual clues, right, and pieced them together. You know, the torn clothes, the blood, the vomit, like the fact that a tear had rolled down my face in relief when I got into the car. I pieced that together, and I turned to him and just said, "I've just been raped." Right, awful thing to do. I'm not proud of it. Horrible thing to do. But what he said was, "Well, how could you let that happen to you?" It's like, oh! Victim blame much, do we? I think you'll find it's never the victim's fault, actually. And then we went back to sitting in silence. Now, Dan, you think you're having an awkward car journey, mate? You think you've ever had an awkward one? Yeah, do you? You ever sat in morally indignant silence because you've just been victim blamed for your own imaginary rape? So I fucking have. 35 minutes that journey took. Silence. We didn't utter one more word. Until eventually, right, we got to my flat. He pulled up right outside it. And as I was getting out of his car, he was like, "Mate, I'm sorry, that was a horrible thing to say. I shouldn't have said that. Is there anything else you need? Is there any way I can help you anymore?" I was like, "Mate, you've done so much already. Thank you. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it was a weird moment and you panicked. That's fine. Like, you know, thank you. You got me home. That's the best thing you could have done for me. Thanks so much." Now, I would like to meet this guy again one day and buy him a pint because I feel like I definitely fucked his morning up. Well, I got out of the car and I was stood in front of my front door, and that's when the relief really hit me, right? Like, there's tears just poured down my face because I was finally there. I'd been trying to get home for 10 hours by this point. I was exhausted, I was coming down, I was hungover, but I was there. And as I opened my front door, my girlfriend was stood right behind it because she was getting ready to go to work. That's what time it was. When she saw me, her face just dropped. She just went, "Oh my God, are you all right? God, what happened to you? Jesus, you all right? You look like you've been mugged." And I went, "Mugged. Mugged. Mugged. That would have worked, wouldn't it? Mugged." I went straight to raped. Mugged would have been fine. Mugged. Ooh, what am I like? Ooh, what a Nelly. So I went to sleep for 10 hours, right? Because I had a lot to sleep off. When I came round, I was like, shit, I've got to cancel my bank cards, right? Because that taxi driver's got them. Shit. So I went onto my online banking to do that. And I discovered when I went on there that on top of all the bills I'd accrued the previous night, this taxi driver had had a hell of a time with my card. Right, he had invested quite heavily in Bitcoin. Right, now, if you don't know what Bitcoin is, right, it basically is an online currency that's completely untraceable. It's what online drug dealers use, right? Once your money's in it, it's fucking gone. So the amount that had left my account in one night was £5,960. Nearest makes no difference, £6,000. And I'd promised the Arts Council a show with that money. Oh, shit. I should have started the show by now, shouldn't I? Oh, fuck, I've not done anything the Arts Council wanted, have I? I haven't mentioned Brexit, feminism, satirical magic. I've done none of those things. Oh, fuck. I mean, I can't do it now, can I? I mean, obviously, I've done this on purpose. I'm not that much of a fucking moron, right? I'll tell you the reason why I've done it, right? Because I don't give a shit about the Arts Council's judgment, right? Why should I have to jump through their hoops to prove what I do is art, right? I don't care about their judgment. I don't care about their opinions. I don't give a fuck what they think about me. I only care about your opinions, and that what makes it art to me, what you think. So, have I at least entertained you? Then it's not art. You know what, I can't do the show that the Arts Council wanted now. I don't have the time, but I've got about 5-10 minutes left, right? So fuck it, should we just have some fun? Yeah? Should we just have a bit of a party? Yeah? Bit of fun? All right, cool, can I borrow you for 1 second? Come on up, give a round of applause! Come on up for the party! What's your name, sorry? Beth, lovely to meet you. Fantastic, you can sit back down, thank you very much. Give a round of applause! That's it, just thought I'd be a bit of fun. Lovely to meet people, right? Always nice to meet some new friends. Here's the thing, though, right? I'll tell you what really fucked me off with the Arts Council, where I was really pissed off with them. The reason was, right, it wasn't just the fact that I had to jump all through those hoops, it was the quotas that they set for me, right, the things that I had to do for their things. The one that annoyed me particularly was feminism, right, because surely giving money to a man to do a show about feminism is entirely the fucking problem. Surely, right? I don't think that's absolutely mental. And the way they came at it was completely wrong as well. What the guy said to me in the meeting at first was, yes, we just want a show that demonstrates that men and women are exactly the same. And that's bullshit. We're not the same. There's loads of differences between us. That's fucking wonderful. We should celebrate those things because they're exciting. They're part of what makes life wonderful. We should be treated equally. We should have the same outcomes in life. We should be treated with the same level of respect. I know we're not at the moment, but we should be. But that doesn't mean we're the same. And like to say that is so ignorant and so stupid. It's really fucking annoying. Oh, by the way, Dan, could you just open that envelope for me now? That'd be great. Cheers, mate. There's a note inside it. If you just unfold it, read it out nice and loudly into the microphone. Yeah, the pen will seep through it, so just open it to the other side. That's it. Other way around. There you go.
If you raise any woman's hand above her head, she will spin the fuck around.
100% of the time. Every fucking time. I've done this show around the country and it has never failed. And I've tried it on men and it doesn't work. They just stand there looking confused, like, what? And like, that's it. I think that's an amazing thing. I think it's wonderful. There's this thing inside women that turns them into jewellery boxes. Right, I think it's magical. Like, it's a great thing. We should celebrate the little differences like that. And don't feel bad literally every time. Like, I think it would work with any woman at any time. Like, I think you could do it to Angela Merkel in the middle of a speech. And it would work. Like, this is my plan, right? This is what I'm going to do, right? When she's giving a speech to the European Parliament, right? She'll be there like, yes, vive l'ensure, then Article 50 is triggered. That's how she sounds. Fuck off. Vive l'ensure, the best possible deal for Germany. And that's that point, right? When she does that, the doors at the back of the stadium just poof, will open. And I'll be there, silhouetted against the sky. And I'll just shout, for Britain! And then I'll fix her with my gaze and I'll charge the stage. I'll just start running down the steps towards her. She'll be panicking, speeding up, going, yes, we will always work in the best interests of the German people. God, schnell! Schnell, guards! And when the security guards come towards me, I'll just batter them away like 52%. Just keep running. And she'll be really panicking then. She'll be going, yes, we will not give in to the demands of Britain. Oh, what are you doing, you awful little... Oh, yeah! That is good, all right. Free trade for everyone. So that's my plan. Hold on. Brexit, feminism, satirical magic. I fucking... All in one! All in one! Suck it, Arts Council, all in one! Right, now that used to be the end of the show. Until someone from the Arts Council came to see it. And they did not enjoy it, right? Now, like the guy who came to see it, right, surprisingly, a rich, straight white man from London. Whoo, blow me down with a feather, right? He came over to the show and he was like, right, I'm not terribly impressed with that. I don't know how much of that show is true. Far more than you'd think, by the way, like a depressing amount, right? He said, I don't know how much is true, but if you really have been trying to con the Arts Council, that's very serious indeed. And whilst we have no drive to sue a young artist, finally admitted I'm a fucking artist, right, well, I will require proof from you that you spent all of the money that we've given you on your artistic endeavour. Right, now, here's the problem with that. Because you know how I had a £6,000 gap in my funding? Right. Now, like as I said earlier, right, my credit's terrible. I can't get loans. So I didn't apply for a loan to cover that money. I applied for Arts Council funding. This time I applied for £6,000 and told them that I'd be using it to teach erotic dance workshops to immigrants and single mothers. Which is technically how I spent it. The thing is, right, I'm so good at their paperwork, it worked, right, and they gave me the money. Again, I thought I was scot-free, right? I thought I had a limitless resource of money from the Arts Council. Turns out I'm very much cut off now. Right, so he found out this, and he was saying, like, that application as well was part of it, because they were going to sue me for fraud, right, if they found out that I hadn't spent all the money on that. So what I had to do was scrape together £6,000 from friends and family and all that sort of thing, got myself in huge amounts of debt to do this show, to cover that, in order to show them that I'd spent the money on the show. Well, that was the problem. I only needed to spend £9,000 on my show, but I'd had £15,000 from them, and I had to show them where all that money had gone. I'm like, how can you spend an extra £6,000 on your show? That's insane. So I guess I'm just going to have to do what the middle class comedians do. Because I didn't want to resort to cheap gimmicks. I didn't want to tack on some stupid, pointless ending that had no relation to any of the content in the rest of the show. I didn't want to just have a lot of bells and whistles and gimmicks and pointless shit to try and trick you into thinking you've seen something more entertaining than you essentially have. Here's the thing. £6,000's a lot of money, innit? It's got to go somewhere. So fuck it. I'll have the most spectacular ending to an Edinburgh Festival show of all time. Yeah, that's right. I've hired a fucking choir. Actual choir. I had them every night at Edinburgh. £4,000 I spent on these. £4,000 on a fucking choir every bastard night. Yeah, that's it. That's a laser. That cost 300 quid. 70 quid on them. That's fucking great, isn't it? Oh, fucking brilliant. Yeah, that's an inflatable Jack Whitehall. Yeah. 400 quid I spent on that and it's shit. Yeah, fucking impressed by this. You entertained? Fucking hell. I spent so much money. Oh, yeah, that's 20 quid right there. Oh my God. This could have been the deposit on a flat. Oh God. I drive a 15-year-old car that floods when it rains. Oh God. Oh fuck. Oh Jesus. Thank you so. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you are too kind. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed that little character piece. It's a little character called Rob Mulholland I came up with in my time in the Durham Review. Ladies and gentlemen, please will you join me in thanking the Old Etonian Choir? Ladies and gentlemen, this has been popular comedian Rob Mulholland. Good night!